What's up, beautiful squaddies? Before we kick things off, I've got to give a huge thank you to every single one of you tuning in. Your likes, comments, shares, and all-around amazing energy are what make this channel so special. Honestly, you're the heart of Daily Diaries Friday, and I'm so grateful to have such an incredible community. Let's keep building something inspiring together. So, buckle up, because today's story is one you won't want to miss. Let's dive in. In a monarchy obsessed with appearances, King Charles' reign has been marked not by regal transformation or national unity, but by micromanagement, alienation, and dysfunction. As Britain staggers under economic malaise, political instability, and a worsening cost of living crisis, its head of state has been consumed not with governance or legacy, but with the exact shade of his roses and whether the delphiniums are blooming to his precise standards. The drama unfolding at Charles's Highgrove estate, an exodus of 11 out of 12 gardeners, allegations of emotional abuse and a revolving door of underpaid staff, is a microcosm of his broader failure as both a monarch and a manager. At first glance, the controversy around the Highgrove gardeners might seem trivial. Rich man wants his roses a certain way, staff disagree, some leave. But this isn't just a gardening story. It's a parable of power misused and values misaligned, a grim glimpse into the dysfunction that defines Charles's leadership and the hollow, brittle institution he now heads. By all accounts, King Charles is not merely a demanding boss. He is a tyrannical one. His obsession with minutiae, from single weeds to the grammatical correctness of internal memos, speaks to a pathological need for control. Gardeners were expected to comply with Baroque demands scribbled in red ink, walk alongside him in daily inspections, and meet his high-flown, often arbitrary standards. When a staffer misspelled the Latin name of a plant, Charles didn't gently correct the mistake. He scrawled a firm no and sent it back like a petulant schoolmaster. The Highgrove affair has revealed more than the monarch's lack of empathy. It's exposed his deep-seated contempt for the working people who serve him. Rather than pay competitive wages or treat his gardeners with dignity, Charles sought to replace his exhausted, underpaid workforce with retired pensioners and Ukrainian refugees. This isn't simply impractical. It's insulting. It reflects a feudal mindset in which the monarch believes access to royal soil should be payment enough. What we see here is the ugly convergence of royal entitlement and modern exploitation. These gardens are not public lands or national treasures preserved in service of the British people. They are commercialised estates, enriching Charles's charity and selling experiences to wealthy tourists. And yet, the people who make them flourish are paid less than a barista in central London, all while being expected to shoulder the unreasonable whims of a man who still believes himself infallible. The most damning aspect of the Highgrove scandal is not the turnover itself, but what it reveals about the workplace culture Charles has cultivated. Employees describe an atmosphere of tension and fear, with one gardener saying they were treated like dirt. Attempts to raise staffing concerns were reportedly met with scorn and even shouting from Charles's right-hand man, Constantine Inept. Multiple grievances were filed, and an independent investigation concluded that there were staff shortages, poor management practices, and pay concerns so severe that the gardens had been granted carte blanche to hire temporary workers. Still, the problems persist. The King's reaction? Propose elderly volunteers, refugees and green-fingered enthusiasts instead of professionals with experience and skill. This speaks volumes about his regard for labour, expendable, replaceable and voiceless. It's hard not to draw parallels to the wider culture within the royal household, a system so steeped in hierarchy that no one dares speak truth to power, not even when it concerns physical injuries, mental health risks, or structural mismanagement. What this reveals is not just an eccentric man who cares too much about flowers. It reveals a monarch who is emotionally unequipped to lead. His inability to delegate his tone-deaf solutions, his condescending communication style, they all indicate a man deeply unsuited to modern leadership. His desire for absolute control comes not from vision, but from fear. Fear of criticism, fear of irrelevance, and fear of losing the last domains he can command with impunity. The irony in all of this is staggering. For years, King Charles has branded himself as a champion of sustainability, organic living, and, a gentler world. He has been lauded for his environmentalism and celebrated as a forward-thinking monarch. Yet the behind-the-scenes reality suggests otherwise. A man exploiting workers, failing to offer fair compensation and honestly driving out loyal staff through egotism and negligence. Even his much-lauded Highgrove is at its core a vanity project cloaked in the language of benevolence. The estate is run by the King's Foundation, a charity Charles controls. That foundation raises millions from courses, merchandise and elite tourism, all under the guise of public service. But who benefits? Certainly not the people pruning the hedges or dragging watering cans across vast acres in 35-degree heat. Charles may claim he is serving a greater cause, but his methods betray a medieval mindset, one in which nobles give orders and peasants obey in silence. It's hard not to view this scandal in the broader context of royal hypocrisy. Every criticism once levelled against the Duchess of Sussex, from her supposed difficult behaviour to her work ethic, now boomerangs directly back onto the House of Windsor. The truth is painfully obvious. The rot was always internal. Charles's staff turnover and internal strife dwarf anything attributed to Harry and Meghan. Yet somehow the tabloids remain silent, uninterested in dissecting the failures of the monarch himself. This episode also fits neatly into a wider narrative of royal dysfunction. The Windsors are not a family held together by duty, but a collection of clashing egos and mutual resentments. The media fixation on the Sussexes has obscured the deep fissures between Charles, William and Kate. Fissures that erupted visibly when the King's team met with the Sussexes' representatives during Wimbledon, supposedly blindsiding the Waleses. Kate's sudden absence from Royal Ascot now takes on a sharper tone, a symptom, perhaps, of a deeper rift. As king, Charles has done nothing to heal these divisions. His leadership has been marked by favouritism, poor communication, and an unwillingness to adapt to the modern world. In this way, the Highgrove scandal is symbolic. A place that should be nurturing and full of life, much like the monarchy itself, is instead defined by attrition, silence, and neglect. Ultimately, the scandal of Charles and his gardens is not just about one man's flaws, it's about an institution that allows those flaws to flourish unchecked. No private citizen could treat employees this way without facing serious consequences. No CEO could ignore multiple staff grievances and survive a PR firestorm. But King Charles is insulated by tradition, protected by sycophants, and emboldened by a media class that tiptoes around his inadequacies. The solution isn't complicated. Pay people fairly. Treat them with respect. Listen when they speak. But the monarchy has never been built on fairness, respect, or listening. It has always been built on power, symbolism, and the fantasy that those born into royalty are somehow divinely qualified to rule. That fantasy is crumbling, and Charles, despite his lofty ideals and flowery language, is doing nothing to save it. King Charles's behaviour at Highgrove is more than just eccentricity. It's emblematic of a deeply broken institution led by a man out of his depth. His treatment of staff reveals not only a lack of managerial skill, but also a fundamental disregard for the humanity of those beneath him. His failure to reform pay, improve conditions, or even show common courtesy reveals a monarch enthroned in arrogance. If the British monarchy hopes to survive in the modern world, it must confront the truth. Charles is not a visionary steward of a new era, but a symbol of its slow, inevitable decline. His gardens may still bloom, but the soil beneath is poisoned with entitlement, neglect, and decay. Thanks for watching, squaddies. You make every moment shine brighter. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the love. Subscribe to join our growing family, and may your days be as awesome as you are. Until next time, stay safe and stay inspired.